You asked.
That's right.
We don't.
You asked. It's not.
Like they don't think.
They moved it closer to you. Yes.
Right, but it's not. It's not really a hard, but then when it's clear back. Sorry, yeah.
So I guess I can make copies of this. That's fine. If you want to see All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to begin the Commissioners meeting for November 17th, 2025. We have a quorum present, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance if you want to join us. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody sign the Tyler contract?
Yes.
Right.
That works. Thanks.
Anybody have any comments, questions about the county treasurer's monthly report?
Sure.
Okay, we'll just make note that we did review that. Same thing for the county clerk report. Changes anything with that?
Nothing.
Okay, looks good. We did get something from NDOT regarding State Road 56 and State Road 545. I think you probably, the Highway Department probably got the same thing where they're going to take the warning light down at the crossroads. So I thought that was interesting, and they're going to put up a sign. I guess that's the thing. I don't know how they improve safety, but it sounds like that's what they're saying. Improve safety to take that down and to put up a sign that says that you're going to come to an intersection. Do you have any comments on that?
No.
Is it safer this way, or is it safer with the light?
That's what the traffic engineers are for, so they analyze it, and that's what they decide. And so hopefully that's what it is, it ends up being safer.
So from that point up to, I don't know if it's all the way to West Baden, but there's like 5 different sections where they're doing work to improve that road. Ours is the most minor of those, I believe, but okay, they just sent us information on that. So if any of the commissioners want to make a comment, or anybody on the team wants to comment about that, they're welcome to. And we have our minutes from the November 3rd, 2025 meeting. Any changes, modifications?
No.
I'll move that we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Go ahead. Did I sign both sets? I think I
I
did.
believe so. Yes.
Okay.
Next, we have the payroll. Any changes there?
No.
No.
I'll move that we approve the payroll.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I had a question on something in the voucher reports. We're gonna wait on that one for a little bit. Let's start with the highway superintendent, Mr. Leakin.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, I don't have a whole lot. Start out with annual bids. Reminder, we'll be opening up the bids today, and we will be awarding the bids on December 1st. The sanitation sites will be closed November 27th for Thanksgiving. We are starting up crack sealing today, so we're asking everyone to please be patient and drive with caution around the road construction. Hopefully everyone's listening. Fernan site lease agreement. I have that today. So we did it 5 years ago and now the lease is up. So we have an agreement here for another 5 years for you all to sign.
Any term changes?
Nope. Nothing changed at all.
The landowner changed. There's an assignment. That was addressed other than that. Same payment, the same length of time.
Yeah, I guess Albert had it before, but now
That's
it's,
You're gonna work with Mr. Dover for a number of years.
I will say I appreciate them working with us and pass it on to the other commissioners. I'm fine to continue on if you want.
If the only thing changes to the landowner, I don't see any issues.
I'll make a motion that we approve the continued lease.
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
alrighty, and then the Holland dumpster site, I gave you all an agreement what he had wrote up as far as extending it. And I had talked about that last month or the last meeting, $150 a month for January, February, and March, and then month to month from there on until the end of 26. So I didn't know if that agreement, he had written that up. I didn't know if that was okay or if we should.
It looks fine to me, Mr. Schneider. It's pretty simple, but
It is simple. Again, it's a short-term situation. I think in the length of time that could be acceptable. Lawyers like more words. That doesn't mean that we always need more words.
the bottom line is he could have said no more lease and we could be out on our way trying to find something else. So we appreciate that he's working with us. This seems like a fair amount to me. What about the rest of the board? What do you think, Mr. Nelson?
I agree. The situation, far better to have this in place than to have nothing, so.
True, very true. It's not like I'm trying to find another site, so
Right.
I know you have really tried, so appreciate that.
So I'll move that we approve the agreement between Jasco LLC and the county.
Second.
Any other discussion?
Nope.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. So,
Okay, and the last thing I got is Rejuve Tech. Rejuve Tech is completely done, and we had them do a 400-foot section on half of the road for a test strip for a side-by-side comparison, and we was not charged for that. So hopefully in the next 2-3 years, we'll be able to just see once, go down there visibly and look at it, and see what their side looks like with the Rejuve Tech and with nothing at all. So,
what street are we on?
we are on 600 East, just right off of 64, State Road 64.
Nope, I appreciate you doing that. I know I had asked, you had already been doing it, but I asked if we could somehow test to see if these are, because this is something we've been doing for many years, and I don't know how good of an investment it is, and this is one way to find out.
And they do have little core samples that they take out. And so I don't know, I know Steve had tested them or checked them out every year, so I would rather see a visible road.
Sure. Thank you. Highway engineer?
Good morning.
Good morning.
For the paving project update, Calcor has completed paving on New Boys Cusco Road, Old Petersburg Road as well. 490 West is the only road that's left, and they're planning on getting that done by the end of today. So that will wrap up the 2025 paving projects, and then we'll follow behind then, as long as the weather is warm enough and dry enough to paint all the center line workings. And then Donnie and I will be working to get the list of roads that will be improved for next year, which includes chip seal paving and rejuvenation. Just wanted to kind of let everyone know that we are expecting to see a lot less paving done next year just because the funding has been cut for that. A lot of it has been anyway. So ultimately, something's going to have to change, still continue to maintain our roads. So I would expect to see a lot more chip seal. Neighboring counties are doing the same as well, just making sure we're trying to be as proactive as we can to make sure we're doing some sort of preventative measures. If we do less paving, we're probably going to have more chip seal. More to come on that. Bridge 21, wanted to give an update on that. That is the bridge over Little Creek on 200 West, located 0.6 miles north of County Road 600 North. We closed that bridge on 11/3 to begin work to replace the concrete deck. And so far, the bridge crew has demoed the existing deck, added scour protection to the footers, and they also got the mud wall poured. The work is expected to take another 3 to 4 more weeks. And that will be a full closure for the full duration of that. Then after Bridge 21 is complete, we plan on moving over to Bridge 116, which is located on County Road 820 East. That's right there at the Hall and Jefferson Township line. Plan on doing that in December. I know concern was cold weather, not trying to sit there for long periods of time with no work going on. But I feel comfortable enough with still doing that work. There is a detour that goes around, which consists of 175 South and 1025 East. It adds about 4 minutes of drive time. Both of those roads are paved or chip sealed. And then Celestine Fire and Schnellville Fire cover on both sides. So there won't be any additional response time because the bridge is basically the line. So we should be good to go to do that in December. And then for the Bridge Safety Improvement Project, that's the federal grant that we're applying for this month. I'm meeting with Lockmuller this week to review the application, make sure T's crossed, I's dotted, and we'll get that submitted sometime yet this week to NDOT. And then I've got House Bill 1461. There's been a lot of legislation changes, and I felt that it was important to make sure that I inform the Board of Commissioners and also just so the public knows on what those changes are, because it does affect the Highway Department and the county on what we do moving forward and how we go about it. So I wanted to kind of pull out a few of the main points and give a summary of them. So beginning after June 30th, 2026, if the county's average PASER rating is at least a 6 and no more than 15% of our roads are in a failed condition, which is a PASER of a 1 or 2, then 40% of MVH funds will have to be used for construction, reconstruction, and preservation of roads. So it used to be 50%, now it's only 40%. And then this was a big one for the county. Effective July 1st, 2025, the county is only responsible for bridges located within a corporate limit of municipality that have a span length greater than 20 feet. So we used to help out with small structures like small bridges, box culverts within city or town limits, but we're no longer responsible for that. Even though we have a Cume Bridge Fund, we're only responsible for bridges that are greater than 20-foot span. So the county or the cities and towns will be financially responsible for their small structures. So
Has that become an issue since?
we did have one item come up. I won't say it became an issue, but it was one where we were expecting to do some wing walls on a small structure in Huntingburg, and I informed them that we won't be doing that any longer, just because we need every bit of the Cume Bridge Fund we can to maintain our actual bridges. And we can go through those funds pretty quick given the amount of work that we need to be doing on these bridges. So I want to stay consistent. It's black and white. It is what it is kind of thing. My opinion is that cities and towns are going to have to figure that out, the financial obligation. It's good to be good partners with them, but we do one thing for one town, and we need to do it for all of them. So
They don't have crews usually. They're used to doing this work.
they would have to be contracted
Without the
out
contract,
if they're not able to do it in-house. Yeah.
is there any talk of them partnering with us to do that, or do we not have the staff that we would want? Like, if, for example, they pay us instead of them paying a consultant.
I think I would wait to see what they would propose because it's just came out, this year, so it's so early on yet.
I just hate, I like having more money in our fund, but I hate putting them in a bind when we've done it the other way for so long. Okay, no, that's good information.
And then community crossings, we all talked about how the funding's been cut on that. So I just want to give a summary of where that money all went to. So $100 million was set aside for community crossings, which is an 80-20 match for Du Bois County since our population is less than 55,000. And then that is for the round that we just submitted in October of this year. Then there will be another $100 million beginning June 30th, 2026, and June 30th of each year thereafter. That's available to all LPAs. But that's going to be mainly for the LPAs that don't get the direct lane distribution. So if we have a wheel tax, which we do, then starting on June 30th, 2027, we're going to get a direct lane distribution based on certified miles. So we won't be applying for community crossings unless we're getting less than what the cap amount is. So for direct lane distribution, let's say it's 500,000 and the cap is $1 million, then we can still apply for 500,000 community crossing, if that makes sense. It's a little confusing, but should have it spelled out there.
Do you think it would be more fair just to have lane miles and you get a distribution based on that every county? Instead, if we can write a better application or?
I hope that the direct distribution for Du Bois County is greater than the cap amount, so we never have to apply for community crossings.
Right,
And it's
that's right.
predictable. We can budget for it a little better, then we know what we're getting.
And it cuts out levels of bureaucracy that I have to look at it. And that's what.
Exactly. And then $20,000 beginning on June 30th, 2026 through June 30th, 2030 is going to TRAX, which is the railroad. 20 million. And then 50 million is going to Marion County, which is Indianapolis area, beginning on June 30th, 2027 and June 30th of each year thereafter. So that's kind of where all the money is being split up and why it's not all into the community crossings now. So, and then one other change I wanted to note was townships shall contribute 30% of the balance of all unrestricted funds that exceed the township's budget for the following year for the improvement of roads and infrastructure within the township's boundaries as approved by the township. So what that means is the township has extra money. It's supposed to come to us to help use on the roads that are within that township. Will it amount to much? Maybe it won't amount to much to anything at all. I don't know, but I just wanted to say that's.
They all had to do a action plan.
Mhm.
And so they've done that by September 30th. And I've had some ask me, when do you want this money? And I'm like, just wait, let's hold on to it. Because I didn't really know how we were gonna do all this.
I figured that was in the works, but I found that interesting that
Yeah,
the way it was written.
Tough thing is, what if they have $3,000 worth of excess funds? What are we gonna do with $3,000 in their township? I mean, we could put rock on some roads and it won't amount to much unless they allow us to roll it over year to year to build up a balance for them.
Yeah, agreed. And then a couple more items on here that come out of House Bill 1198. The amount of public work that can be performed using our own workforce without awarding a contract was changed from an estimated amount of $250,000 to $375,000. So that's a big one for us because, especially with the bridge crew, we want to do as much bridge work in-house as we can. Saves taxpayers a lot of money, stretches our dollar a lot farther. So with the cost of things now, inflation, we can't build nearly as big of a bridge as what we used to for $250K. So $375,000 lets that bridge crew do a lot more in-house. So that way we don't have to send it out for a contract because when we sub things out, the cost goes way up.
I don't feel I understand, why would the why would there be a law stating how much work we could do, what price?
I think it wants to make sure it keeps it fair to the contracting world as well, that it's kind of, make sure it keeps them in business. It's important for the economy. It's important to have contractors out there. So it limits how much we can do in-house, that we have to give some to them when it exceeds a certain amount. And they got an inflation factor built into that as well for each year, so. And then last but not least, public bidding requirements changed from 150,000 to 300,000. So it used to be that if the project is going to be 150,000 or more, we have to go through the advertisement of bids and have the plans and specs and the time duration that goes with that, the timeline. Now that's been bumped up to 300,000. So as long as we're under 300,000, then we can just accept sealed quotes. There's a lot less formalities, a lot less you got to go through, which is good for us because most of our projects are going to fall in that range. That gives us a little more flexibility with that.
So when did that change? Was that July 1st as well?
Yeah, I believe that came effective, that got passed on July 1st, 2025. I know it's currently effective. So,
That amount was changed, I think, a year or two back.
okay.
Oh, no, it was for school corporation for 300,000. Now they've added us into it as well.
Yeah, I need to correct myself. That was 1198, which was,
House Bill 1198.
yes. Okay, it does say effective.
It's July 1, 2025. They brought us in with the school stuff.
Any questions on that?
No, that's good information. Appreciate you bringing it up to us.
I do have a question. How will we know this Pacer 40%, 50%? Because right now we put 50% in that fund.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to know as of when to start doing either 40 or,
It's got it, I put it down there. I think it's,
as long as we work on that.
so, beginning after June 30th, 2026
Okay.
is when,
And then that's good for a whole year?
I'll get back with you, make sure we've got that
I
language
just want to make
correct
sure
in
we
there.
put the number right.
Thank you.
Thank you. What? With EDD? Okay. We have a few minutes to our next agenda items. We'll do some miscellaneous items. As far as our DuBois County board appointments for next year, do we have any updates on those?
I have one. The Northeast Du Bois Fire Protection District
Yes.
is, yeah, I have both of them. They said yes,
So Steve Dodd
yes,
at large and Michelle Cave.
Uh-huh.
So both of those
Yes.
are good.
they're done.
Good. So, let's see. So the ones that we still have outstanding would be
Second plan.
Verdant Planning. Commissioner Hofstadter, do you have that one?
I do not. I need to get a contact on that one. And, Sheeta Boa, Wayne Harrison does not want to, be reappointed, so we need to find someone for Sheeta Boa.
Right, so let's say that we need, it's like Greg Abel is going to be the council appointment. Brian Smith is willing to do the 1 year, so we'll find a 2 year. Does anybody know of?
I think Greg said he could do 2 years.
I've got 2 year wrote down on my notes.
Right, Greg is 2 years, Brian is 1 year, and then we need to find another person that is a 2 year.
Okay, and I do have my feelers out, I just don't have anybody yet. I'm sorry, I just missed the first planning. It's right at the top of the sheet there.
Okay, so at the next meeting, hopefully we'll have both of those, and that will complete our list.
Yeah, I'm checking, I don't have it in the file.
I can double check and see if I have it in mine.
Most people, if you never call me, I'll save your number.
Right, exactly. I do not, wish I could help you.
Anybody have a contact number for Mark Dilger?
That's what we were just. Anybody, Donnie, you,
Mark
perchance? Yeah.
That's a brother, isn't it? Yeah, that's a brother. It's the same, am I right?
Is it a brother?
You could probably call Ken Seacard or
Yeah.
one of the people at First, and they probably have it for you. Okay, another,
So if I know where I can get that
so we all received an email recently about, the RDA that has something to do with, I mean, we all know what the RDA is.
Yes.
And the summary version of it is we had, the RDA was created a number of years ago. It's time for, I think it's actually past time. The law is pretty vague on how it's written, but it, we are either to decide if we want to withdraw from the RDA, if we want to reapprove our membership in that. And so that's a decision we have to make pretty soon, so you do have an email regarding that. If, Mr. Schrader would like to meet with, any of us, if we want to meet with him prior to us making a decision. So I sent him some dates that would work for me, and, I think I put both of you on that email. So if we want to, if you want to make time to meet with him to see what his thoughts are, you're welcome to. And we'll just move forward from there. Do you have any questions on that?
We form that, or do we do that, or is this council? This council created the RDA, correct?
I think we supported it. They formally signed the documents along with Huntingburg, Jasper, and Spencer County. So the county will have to decide if we want to. It's one of these things where if the county decides they want to do it, then the cities are kind of, they get drug along. If we say we're out, they can still decide if they want to be a part of it or not. So Mr. Schneer's looked at it, I've looked at it, and we'll probably have to make a decision on that pretty soon. Again, you may be right, it might be the council that makes the final decision, but we can have some input into that.
The council is the fiscal body, I think, is what it's
So my goal was to meet with at least a member of the RDA, see what their thoughts are on the future of the organization and why it should or shouldn't be continued. And then I guess we can give our opinion to the county council and let them make their decision. You said we had a donation?
Service donated $2,000 to Cincho. And we need to figure out for EMS or public safety, where we want to put it, how we want to use it.
We'll come back to it since she's on the line.
Hello, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, okay? Michelle Carlton.
All right, Michelle Carlton is on the line with EDP. If you recall from the previous meeting, EDP is one of the players in the Duff Solar Park LLC. The request was, they have a 2-lot subdivision, and they're meeting most of the requirements. One of their requests was to remove the 20-foot easement requirement around each of the properties and in between the properties. Is that correct, Mr. Brosman? Does that sound accurate?
10 feet, yeah, correct.
10 feet on each side?
Yeah.
So 20 feet total? And so that the request was to do that. One of the questions I had last week was or 2 weeks ago, was about the ingress and egress to that property was one. So do we have any updates on that, Mr. Leffert?
Yeah, we took a look at Did a further review on our subdivision ordinance, and to meet the requirements of our subdivision ordinance, a lot needs to butt up to public dedicated right of way, and it has to have so much road frontage. And so the plat that they submitted, the means of ingress, egress was through a recorded easement, but that easement is a private easement, not a public easement. So really, the public utility easements back there would be landlocked if you don't have public right-of-way or public easement to get access back. So my opinion is that would be another variance request that would be needed because it does not have the public road frontage. Since this here could, because the plat, the parcel, the parent parcel that they're wanting to subdivide does not have any road frontage. That's why they have to create a new drive to get access back to that. So that was another concern that did not come up initially, but came up after we reviewed it more. And then,
Commissioner Hostetter, that's what it looks like. There's the public road, there's their easement, and then there's the two lots.
now, our subdivision ordinance breaks it down into minor subdivisions and major subdivisions. The minor subdivisions can be approved by the subdivision review committee. However, a major subdivision has to be approved by the commissioners. And since this would require dedicated public right-of-way for the new road, it automatically falls under major subdivision.
Mr. Broker, do you have any comments on the request of the, looks like there'd be a, they didn't even request a variance from the public roadway, but the variance from the 20-foot easement requirement. Do you have any comments on that?
No, I think we need to figure out this access first. If you give a variance to the frontage, then you can probably give a variance to the 20-foot because it doesn't really matter. You can't get public utilities to it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is that access? I think that's the.
So the other thing that they have going there is they have a private access easement for, for Du Bois REC. So there's a so instead of it being a generic public easement,
Right.
it's a specific.
Right.
And they have one that goes between the two lots. What I don't want to do is keep running them around because last time, so I think they came into the last meeting thinking, okay, we've got the okay of everybody. Then we said, we want to look at something. And now we did it for 2 weeks later and we're telling them we're going to look at something else again. So what I'd like to do, if we can, try to get it all wrapped up before we look at it again. Do you think, is that something that the two of you can work with them to find, so I think my thing would be, I don't think I'd be willing to give a variance to the ordinance. If the rule is we need 20 feet of public utility easement around it, we should probably go for it. I mean, unless there's a really strong reason not to. Also, we have road frontage rules for a reason as well. So I think we should probably stick with what our rules are, not grant the variance. That'd be my opinion. Because if this is going to be used for solar work today, it will not be used for solar in 100 years probably. So we need to be prepared. Whatever action we take today will affect the future. That'd be my opinion. Commissioner Hostetter, thoughts?
No, I agree. The rules are there for a reason, so I think in this case we should follow.
I agree. I think we need to follow.
So, Michelle, we can schedule a meeting to actually sit down to go through all the requirements and see how you guys would like to proceed with it. Just let me know, shoot me an email, we can follow up. Go from there, make sure we're all on the same page. So we just need to review in depth a little bit more on this one. I think we've got it figured out what we need.
So I guess the point that I would be is, over the last couple of weeks, we've had a number of people that are interested in the solar topic and what's going on out there. I guess I would say if EDP in this situation, if they meet all of our requirements, it would be our duty to approve the 2-lot subdivision. But if they can't meet the requirements, then we wouldn't have to. And the people from EDP have been fine to work with as far as all of my interactions with them. So hopefully we'll be able to either work something out or we won't. And we won't put anything on the next calendar until county surveyor, county engineer are satisfied that they're meeting the terms of the agreement or the ordinance. Does that sound good? Yep.
Does, good.
Michelle, is there anything you'd like to say?
Nothing else on my end. Thank you all for your consideration, and we'll be getting in touch with the subdivision review committee on next steps. Thanks for letting me call in this morning.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, we have the vouchers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Brofer.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, let's go back to the donation. So there's a local company, Service Incorporated, donated $2,000 to the county. And they've left it somewhat open on how we can use it. They wanted it to be used for either,
Emergency services, public safety. They didn't specify exactly what.
okay,
So it's depending on what we do with it, tells me where to put the money in what fund.
so the money has already been presented.
I have to check.
We have a check. So for the board of commissioners, we need to decide where we would like to go with this so that it can be put in the proper fund. I did talk to 911 about the funds. They said they don't have an immediate need for $2,000 to buy an item or anything like that right now.
Okay.
Have you had any contact with anybody else? So we believe that the options would be either EMA,
EMA,
Sheriff's
EMS,
Department.
public safety.
ambulance.
Yeah.
I think my first thought is we always have a need with the ambulance service to buy items for the ambulances. We're responsible for some of the items that get purchased and are on there. So I'd recommend you put it there unless someone has a different.
That's a fine place.
That'd be great.
So let's go ahead with that. And I want to publicly thank the servants for thinking of the county and wanting to improve the life of people in DuBois County. And we didn't solicit it. They just came forward to us. And if anybody else wants to write a $2,000 check, just send it in. We'll find a good spot for it. Oh, at least one person in attendance left their checkbook at home, I can see. But no, that was really great. We do appreciate that. We have a surplus item at 911, a computer laptop, IBM, Lenovo laptop E590. We've got the serial number here. I'd like to declare that a surplus item to be disposed of.
A second.
Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Something else that we have coming up is we had an agreement with Baker Tilly to do financial work for the county as it relates to the sewer project. And we went through the first, I think we had, I don't remember how much money we had appointed initially, but we've gone through that. The county council has agreed to fund, I believe, $15,000 more in total, $5,000 for work already completed, $10,000 roughly for work that is to continue. So Baker Tilly and I are working with Mr. Schneier on getting all of our required contract language put into that. And I just wanted consent of the board to sign the master service agreement and scope of work with them whenever that's available. The work that they're doing currently is working with Jasper Midwest Engineers to, the thing that's most important to me is to find it, like a rate. It's not a full rate study on our side, but it's to find what rate the regional sewer district would pay Jasper for processing the flow, there we go, from this. So it's really important because if Jasper charges an amount that is really high, then we have to charge an amount really high to the new users. And the higher the rate, the less people that will potentially be interested in using it, which I completely understand. So they're working on that to make sure we have it's fair and equitable. So I think it's important. The reason I'm asking for consent from the board, I don't have a final agreement, is the agreement was in place, they just had to add a few of our required contract items.
Okay.
So is anybody on the board opposed to me signing that outside of them?
I'm not opposed.
Okay, I'll make a motion then that the board president has the consent of the board to sign the MSA and scope of work with Baker Tilly for the sewer project.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. At the next county commissioners meeting, I think it's on December 1st, we will have our representative here, Jay Shane Spicer with our regional sewer district, and they're going to give us an update on the work that they're doing on easements, construction, drawing, capital planning. Yeah, and so I'm just looking forward to them giving us an update. Here's a positive announcement. We have received, as of November 5th, a letter from the Indiana Family Social Services Administration stating that it says, thank you for your response to the Indiana's request for funding announcement for the Indiana Opioid Settlement Dollar for Match-to-Match Prevention Initiative. So DuBois County and the JRAC and Brady Quinn and just a number of people, or Jenny Lampert, we've worked on, the commissioners agreed and the council has agreed to put $100,000, I believe, for this one into a preventative initiative for DuBois County for programming and education in schools. And we have been given that award. So the Division of Mental Health and Addiction awarded that opportunity to DuBois County. We're working through some final paperwork with them, but that's a good thing. It's going to have some school-based prevention programming, help high schoolers with response to minor violations, pretrial diversion for young people. So there's just a lot of good initiatives with that I'm really happy that we were selected to do that. One thing that I think is an interesting initiative as part of that is, I know that when we were in high school, this happened, somebody that's a kid that has some problems, right? You have a home life that there's some issues, and then they catch you smoking, or something that isn't necessarily the end of the world, and they kick you off the football team. You can't play basketball, you can't do whatever. So the only real pro-social thing that you have going in your life, they now take that away from you. So this is, I think, part of this idea is to say, yes, those things aren't allowed. There are rules, but is there some way that we can still keep those kids doing the positive things that they've been doing ahead of time, and it's kicking them out of the pro-social activities if they're doing the right thing. So that was one thing that stood out to me that I thought, because I know kids that were in the grade that we were in that they got caught with some minor things off of the team, and their lives didn't get better, they got worse. So I appreciate the work that some of our people for the county are doing with that. Okay, I think it's time. It's 8:45. Next up is the Crossline Battery Storage System. Ms. Vogel, do you have something for us today?
Good morning, how are
Good
you all
morning,
doing?
good, thank you.
I've got a number of neighbors here with me today, but I did want to go ahead and submit, we do have 273 plus signatures for you guys this morning. Those that are opposed to the proposed Crossline Battery Energy Storage System and solar project. for our
Are these some
area.
of the same from last time that you've added to them?
Yeah, we're just keeping the total, so
Got
that's,
it.
yeah. And we've got a couple more out there that we weren't able to pick up in time. That being said, I've got a couple of my neighbors that are here with me to speak today.
Okay.
If I could get those back, that'd be great.
I'm Jason Hiley. I live on Holland Road Northeast, not directly by the solar project, but on a road that they would use. I guess, first of all, have you guys, I think last meeting you were going to look into see if there was any action that could be taken on this project? Have you had a chance to do that?
I have. I've given it a lot of more attention than, this is my solar pile here, so I've been going through this stuff. I mean, would you prefer that we start by us talking? And you responding how
I
you
can
want?
do it either way. I've got some, if you didn't have ideas, I have some ideas or some thoughts about some concerns. If you have stuff already, I think we can go through that too. So.
Yeah, how about this? I have a few things that I wanted to share because I know that there were certain concerns that were brought up at the last meeting. I wanted to tell you what I came up with over the last couple weeks, and if there's still concerns, whatever, we're happy to hear whatever you've got to say. So on the 13th, I met with 8 representatives from AES, the company that's doing this Crossline project. With those representatives at BU Jasper, so we met with them for maybe an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
And they presented to us what their plans are, what the safety aspects of it are, what just a whole number of items. And so that was an informative meeting. And then I again attended the open house meeting in Huntingburg that evening.
Yeah.
I spoke to some of the people that are in attendance here, and again had an opportunity to speak with more of the AES people. So that was, again, I felt like I got a lot of education out of that. The concerns that I had down that were brought from the public at the last meeting, one of the issues was fire suppression and containment. The AES people spoke in depth about how that works and the issues that they had or that could come from those. And how about this? I think we have our EMA directors here somewhere. Do you want to talk about that? You probably talked about that in more detail. I mean, I could speak about fire suppression and containment in some sense, but the EMA director met with some of those folks and but yeah, I'll let you speak for yourself.
Right, so on Friday morning, I had a public safety meeting with AES because as EMA director, it's my job to make sure our first responders have the training that is necessary if this is implemented. So we were told that they are going to provide the training for our first responders. They told us that their safety mechanisms that they have in the storage boxes where the batteries are stored has fire suppression in them. They told us those types of things, that they will work with us and our first responders in bringing the training in, and it will be multiple meetings prior to that so that the firefighters know what they want, and they will give that information to AES so that we can get that training started. As of right now, we don't have any dates. We just had our initial meeting on Friday. But I wanted to meet with them because we just need to know how to fight this fire or whatever might happen. And our people deserve to have that training. So that is why I made that request to AES. And they seemed very open to bringing in the training. I felt like at this point, that was all I could do, and we'll just wait for the next meeting and see what happens as the future goes. But our office is watching it and monitoring it as the best that we can, so.
Okay, so again, and this is what you would expect. They seem like trustworthy people. I don't know who these people are. They seem like good people. It seemed like they were telling the truth, but they said over and over about the improvements in the technology over the years, and that the fire suppression and containment, that the technology improves every year, and that hasn't been a big issue. I mentioned this to some of you, that the Fluence, Fluence, is going to be the battery portion of this, and the Fluence people have said that this guy said he's done over 800,000 batteries his company has, and they've not had a problem with any of theirs. They said that Samsung is another battery person that's similar to them, and they may have had some issues, but this company themselves hasn't had any. For health and safety, I guess that goes along with this. Decommissioning, I did pull out our agreement that we had with them. We do have a decommissioning plan agreement dated May 20th, 2024 between Crossvine Solar and DuBois County. And so, Holly, I was going to give you that if you have it already, so you know where we're at with that. If anybody wants a copy of it, I've got it. So we do have a decommissioning plan in place with them. We discussed with them the lack of public information that had come out, and so, of course, they got right on top of that and had a public information meeting, and they have 2 more planned, I believe. Also, just I like letting people know that I take their concerns seriously, and I read a battery energy storage system report from the Department of Energy. I've read this thing from the EPA. I've read articles online. And I'm trying to do my due diligence to protect people here in the county the best we can. The thing, my finding as I look at this, that over the years, at least the last 5 years, these things are getting safer every year. And if it was me and it was located next to my house, I would feel that it's a safe technology, as safe as any other business, as safe as, I'd be more concerned with ammonia trucks driving by my house, right? That would leak, and I see that that's more of an issue, or there's several things that are an issue. So I would say, from what I've read, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've looked at this and the numbers show that the amount of gigawatts has doubled and the amount of issues has stayed flat. You would assume if you have twice as many of these things going on, you'd have twice as many problems, but that hasn't been the case because the technology is improving. On the other hand, if it was right next to my house, I would think this is ugly and I probably don't care for it. So I can see that as well. Since you probably haven't heard enough of me, I'm going to go through a couple more things and then I'll pass it on to the other commissioners for their comments. It was mentioned, somebody asked about moratoriums for solar and wind, I guess, could be another one that would be a part of this, is that I don't think it would be a legal move on our part to say to EDP or AES under the current projects that they have going that they must stop because they're already this far, they're working under the current rules. But I think something that the board could potentially do, we'd have to continue to work with Mr. Schnare, is say, we will not issue any, licenses, permits, whatever.
Right, under our solar energy ordinance, you are the authorizing body for the permits. We've issued 2 of those permits, they've gone out. If the board wanted to consider future permit issuance, again, those come up on a case-by-case basis. Moratoriums aren't meant to be to stop development, but to make sure it's done in a reasonable way. They're not meant to be into perpetuity. They're meant to be a short-term situation until those things can be resolved. I don't know that, again, that's just based upon what I've read and looked into. Moratoriums aren't meant to be for 20 years, 12 months, something like that. But,
so my position with the board would be, I believe somebody here in the crowd also provided something that Davies County did. And Davies County has setbacks of, I think, 2,500 feet. And I think our setbacks are 20% of that. So something I could see that we could do going forward is these 2 projects these boats have already left the dock, but we could say for the future, we could change our we could put a moratorium in until we get the ordinance updated to say that it's whatever changes we want to make. We could have those implemented and put a moratorium on it until we get comfortable with where they are. So, does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, so here, this one's from the EPA. They said communities should note that despite some high-profile incidents, improvements in best quality and design have led to decrease in the number of failure incidents per gigawatt hour employed. And yeah, I think this is pretty much what I just said, that Even one where they did an evacuation in Monterey, California, they did 24-hour evacuation. Air quality monitoring and sampling occurred during and after the fire and found no risk to public health. So even when things go bad, the risk to public health is pretty low. That's been my finding. Yeah, the failure incident report, there's been 16 failures, and this was just through 23, so that's still using older technology, and the failure rate was 0.32%, so. And yep, the final thing, again, like I said, I've been reviewing the Davies County solar plan, and, you know, I thought the idea of no solar panel located less than 2,500 feet from a non-participating property line was a good step that the county can take to improve what we're doing. Commissioner Hossetter, what are your thoughts?
Let's see. I don't have nearly as much as you do, but I spoke with Jason. He sent me an email that kind of outlined some of their concerns. I think they have some legit concerns. Certainly not opposed to a moratorium. And as far as current permits go, if those permits are being followed, I think we're good. If the permits are not in compliance though, I would consider revoking the current permits and moving forward that way, as long as it can be done legally.
Commissioner Stefano?
I kind of echo what Nick's talking about is the permits. Maybe we need to take another look at those. I've done lots of research. I had a long conversation with Holly. You know, the fire issue is a big deal. I guess my question, not only to us, but to the public is, can we move the battery storage from where they're wanting to put it? Can we move it? Is that an option for us?
It's not ours to move, I would say.
Request to move it?
I think
Technically, it's possible.
yeah, we can make any request we want, but I don't know that we have any legal grounds
Right,
to.
right. I
I
mean,
don't know
that's,
that we have the authority to tell them that it needs to be relocated. And our permits are for the solar panel facilities
Not the-
themselves, not the best
right,
storage facilities.
right. I realize that.
And I did pull up I don't know where it is, I've got so much paperwork on the solar stuff, that the Indiana Homeland Security did approve both of these, or at least this one I know. And so they were the permitting agency, and I read it again just to make sure I wasn't wrong, and it says specifically, we can't approve them or deny them. We can't, the long story short, all we could do is what we talked about already, setbacks and things like that. And even most of those rules are about, are most useful in counties that have zoning, which we don't have. So.
We do have ordinances, so, kind of on the, kind of show you what I talked to Nick a little bit about. I do believe that you have the right to revoke this permit. This is from your application. It shows no solar panels in Huntingburg 2-mile jurisdiction. This is the Huntingburg 2-mile jurisdiction right here. This is a screenshot or a picture of the screen from the meeting Thursday. They did not have handouts, which I thought was pretty unprofessional. They had a lot of handouts, but none of them were very specific to this project. They were more general handouts of what the systems are, what they do. It didn't show maps, anything like that, but I guess that's what you get when you kind of throw something together last minute.
So I guess what I would say is, we wouldn't be able, and tell me if I'm wrong here, from a legal standpoint, if this is the one that we approved off of,
Yeah.
and this is what they're proposing, this wouldn't be of our concern because it's not in our jurisdiction.
It is in your jurisdiction.
I thought you said it was City of Jet.
It's in the 2-mile radius. You have jurisdiction and the city has jurisdiction over that area. It's your roads.
Right, we would have, I would definitely agree with you that we have jurisdiction over the road, if it's a county road. Mr. Schneider, do you have any idea? You see what I'm saying? It seems like Huntingburg would be responsible for
I
this.
believe did the city issue a permit within
No.
2 miles? They left it all up to us.
They don't, I don't think right now they require a permit for that, but they're looking at changing it. Both Huntingburg and Huntingburg and Holland Council has expressed concern over this project and not wanting this project. Another issue is, they listed the parcels on the next page, one of the
Mr.
parcels.
Hiley, I'm gonna stop you, because we have to open road items,
We advertise
but we
for
will
nine.
give you time when we're finished with that. We just, whenever we have a public bid opening, we have to do it at that.
I understand.
Time you've been there. So we're gonna do the highway annual bid opening for materials, and then we'll get back to your concerns. And for those of you in attendance that have never sat through one of these, it's a pretty exciting process.
Okay, we do have a number of bids here to open up. I'm gonna begin, we're gonna do them based upon who we've received them from. First ones I'm opening up are from CNR Construction. This is for item number 6, hot mix asphalt. Different unit pricing, they have their bonds and they have the non-collusion in the bid form available. My plan will be just to make sure those things are in order and then pass these on to the highway department for final review. Actually,
You have to announce the amounts, right?
somebody do that, yes, I apologize. So I've got this is again from CNR. Item number 6, hot mix asphalt. Says item 10, 9.5 millimeter surface type B, quantity of 1 ton, unit price $75. Item 20, 12.5 millimeter surface type B, 1 ton, $75. Item number 30, 19 millimeter intermediate type B, 1 ton at $68.75, $68.75 per unit. Item number 40 is 25 millimeter base type B, 1 ton, unit price $66.50. I'm gonna change my course, I'm gonna open up for item number 6. This bid is from E&B Paving. For HMA base type B, 25 millimeters, $48 unit price per ton. HMA intermediate type B, 19 millimeters is $50 per ton. And HMA surface type B, 9.5 millimeters, $60 per ton.
This is what you know about that.
Bid from Cave Quarries for item 6, hot mix asphalt. Surface 9.5 millimeters is $90 per ton. Surface of 12.5 millimeters is $90 per ton. Surface at 19 millimeters is $90 per ton. Item number 11, binder, 9.5 millimeters is $87 per ton. Number 9, binder, 12.5 millimeters is $87 per ton. Number 8, binder, 19 millimeters, $87 per ton. Number 5, base, 25 millimeters is $85 per ton.
J.H. Rudolph for hot mix asphalt. So they're item 2 is with items. Concrete base number 5 or number 5D is $79 per ton. Concrete intermediate number 8 is $81 per ton. Hot asphaltic concrete intermediate number 9 is $83 per ton. And hot asphaltic concrete surface for number 9 or number 11 is $85 per ton. What is that? 6. Right here. That's all. One, 2, and 3. You already got those? So item 7. Sorry. Overall item 7. 8. It's 489. Okay. Next, we'll be opening up bids for item number 7, cold mix asphalt. Bid is from Cave Quarries. I keep them there.
They have an order. Some of these have 1, 2, and 3 in them. Are they supposed to be built? That is fine. All right. This doesn't look like a bid.
So cold mix pricing for Summer Blend located, this is based on the location of where they're hauling out of. I've got a price of $84, which is 4 miles east of French Lick on US 150, delivered to the county highway garage at a price of $95.75 for the Summer Blend. Winter Blend, our mixing plant located 4 miles east of French Lick is $86. Delivered to the county highway garage is $97.75. Here, this is. This bid is from Rudolph. Their pricing from the Rudolph plant is $130 per ton. This is for bituminous materials cold mix, and to the county garage is $145 per ton. Next is from CNR Construction. Cold mix asphalt to the highway garage, units per ton is $200 per unit. Next, I'm going to open bids for item number 1, which is pipe. This bid is from E3 Bridge. Sorry, Donnie, you want to come back over? Or we're looking at reading all of it. This. Okay. So in the interest of some time, we do have a bid here, like I said, from E3 Bridge. There's a number of different types, pricings set forth. We'll make those available. It's all based upon the size and everything else. Then we have a bid also for number one pipe from CivilCon. They did both items 1, 2, and 3 in the same packet.
Yes, I think I put it behind me. Would you rather-
Likewise, we received bids for item number 2 and item number 3 from E3 Bridge. Say that their documents, again, also appear to be in order. There's a number of items which are listed out on here. Copies are available. And yeah.
Carla? No, guys want to ask you something.
E3 Bridge also bid on item number 3, which is geotextile. And there are copies available for review of that as well. Packet appears to be in order. Southern Indiana Supply submitted a bid for item number 3. You're probably gonna go.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna do this one first. Then you're gonna do this before this.
No.
No, you're gonna do these ones.
So for the bidders that are in attendance, Donnie's gonna find a location to spread these out and have them reviewed. Southern Indiana Supply also submitted a bid for item number 2. So 1, 2, 3.
You should be able to look at our calendars.
Civil Supply submitted a bid, same packet for items 2 and 3.
Okay, thanks.
So these will be available, it sounds like, in the basement of the annex. What was once the Emergency Management Agency's offices. Okay, item number 4 is ready mix concrete. I've got a bid from Concrete Supply. Their bid for Class A straight cement is $157.50 per yard. NDOT Class B straight cement is $152.50 per yard. NDOT Class C straight cement is $167.50 per yard. Also for item number 4, I have a bid from IMI. Their bid for Class A is $157 per cubic yard. Class B is $152 per cubic yard. Class C is $162 per cubic yard. So we had another bid for item number 1 for Metal Culverts Incorporated. Various pricing based upon diameters and gauges. Copies are available as well. Move on to item number 8, crushed stone and cave quarries. Both of these, I guess, here. 60,000 ton or less, I got size 53s at $9.50. At Cape Quarry, $9.50 from Cow Park Quarry, different pricing based upon the location of them. Item number, size 23s are $9.50 from Cave Quarry and $9.50 from Cow Park Quarry. Number 73s are $10.75 from Cave Quarry and $9.50 from Cow Park Quarry. Ones and twos are $11.50 from Cave Quarry, and same price, $11.50 from Cow Park Quarry. Fours are $11.50 from Cave and $11.50 from Cow Park. Five, $11.50 from Cave, $11.50 from Cow Park. Seven, $12 from Cave, $12 from Cow Park. Eight, $13 from Cave, $13 from Cow Park Quarry. Number nine is both $13.50 from Cave and Cow Park Quarry. 11As are both $14 from Cave Quarry and Cow Park Quarry. 11B are $13 from Cave Quarry and not applicable from Cow Park Quarry. 6-inch riprap will be $13.50. These are per US ton, I should have said that earlier, sorry, from Cave Quarry, and $13.50 from Cow Park Quarry. Revetment riprap, $13.75 from Cave Quarry only, not applicable from Cow Park. Number 23 sand is $31 from Cave Quarry only, not applicable from Cow Park Quarry. Number 12 is $15.75 from both Cave Quarry and Cow Park Quarry. Also for item number 8, crushed stone. This is from Mulder Crushed Stone. Pricing from 3 different locations: the Temple Quarry, the Tower Quarry, and the Dale Yard. This is for sizes 53 and 73. Temple Quarry is $11. Tower Quarry is $14.80. From the Dale Yard is $28.75. For numbers 2, 4, and 7 sizes, from the Temple Quarry is $12.85. Tower Quarry is $17.45. From the Dale Yard is $30.50. Sizes number 5 and number 8 from the Temple Quarry are $15.85. Tower Quarry is $17.45. The Dale Yard is $31.70. For size number 9 from the Temple Quarry is $17.45. Tower Quarry $19. Dale Yard $32.65. Size 11 dry winter use from the Temple Quarry only, $20.15. Size number 11 from the Temple Quarry is $17.25. Tower Quarry is $18.80. Dale Yard is $32.75. Size number 12 from the Temple Quarry is $19.15. Tower Quarry is $20.75. Dale Yard is $35.45. Riprap, 12-inch max size. Temple Quarry is $14.55. Tower Quarry is $18.65. The Dale Yard is $34.35. For fill sand for the Dale Yard only is $24.50. I know everybody in attendance has been waiting for this one. It's the last one. Item number 9, crushed stone. This is from Cave Quarries. For size number 53, $20.95 to the County Highway Garage. Size 23, $20.95. Size 73, $22.20. Ones and twos, $22.95. Size 4, $22.95. Fives, $22.95. 7s, $23.45. 8, $24.45. 9, $24.95. 11A is $25.45. 11B is $24.45. 6-inch riprap is $24.95. Revetment riprap is $25.20. Number 23 sand is $31, and number 12 is $27.20. Also for item number 9, crushed stone from Moser Crushed Stone. I read the other one, so I'll read this one. This is Jasper Garage stockpile, unit pricing versus deliveries to various townships. So I'm going to read these. Size number 53 and number 73 is $21.90. Size 2, 4, and 7 are $23.75. Size 5 and 8 are $26.75. Size 9s are $28.35. Size 11s are $28.15. Size 11 dry for winter use is $31.05. Size number 12 is $30.05. Rip Wrap 12-inch max size is $26.45. Fill sand is $29, and 23 and 24 sand is $29.95. I will point out that then there are different pricings based upon delivery to the different townships within DuBois County for each of those items as well, and those will be available for review. And that would include, I believe, the bid opening.
I think I missed some of that. Can you start over?
Sure.
Telephone video, okay, I'll just watch you later.
Okay.
So thank you for that. Again, all of these bids are available for public view in the basement, right? All the way down. There's an elevator out here if people want to use it, or the steps, and the bids will be awarded at the next commissioners meeting.
So, if it's not over, you might.
The sulfur stone and all that stuff. This is all your pipes and the textiles. There's pipe 1 through 3% home together. You're going to take them down with you together.
Well, I didn't think that was going to take as long as it did, so I apologize for that. But what I'd like to do is give the Ms. Vogel, Mr. Hiley, a little more time if they would like. How about we'll give you another 7 minutes or so because we have other agenda items. But please go ahead.
Yeah, I think, as I mentioned, I think you have enough information there to revoke the permit.
Can you give that rationale again?
Yeah, the town hall, obviously, I think communication on this project has been lacked. The original permit that was submitted to you guys did not show any solar panels in the Huntingburg ETJ. Huntingburg thought only 18 acres of solar panels was going to be in their ETJ. If you look at their maps, it's about 250 acres, give or take. I can't figure based on everything there. So that's a huge one. I think there's, some discrepancies in some of the panel locations from their maps to the current maps to the original permits. The original permit said that they were going to start construction no later than August 31st, 2025. That date's already passed. And then I don't believe that the original permit had, your permit requirements specifies it's got a list, improvement size, dimensions, distances, to property lines, other improvements shown on all four sides, locations and dimensions of easements and driveways. I don't think there's sufficient information included in the permit to meet the standards of your application. And then not all parcels listed on the permit are shown on the map. So I think there's, with the communication that's been going on this project, and it's passed through multiple companies, you know, I think somebody dropped the ball somewhere and it just isn't there. And I feel like you have enough to revoke the permit. If they want to resubmit, they can, you know. Yeah. That's where I'd be on that one. I do appreciate the willingness to look at setbacks. I think the ones that are the state minimums are pretty small, and I think that will help future projects have less issues if we have proper setbacks listed in there. So let's see.
Regarding the Huntingburg situation, Huntingburg has discussed this at some of their public meetings over the years, and Huntingburg has not issued any approvals or permits for construction.
They've only signed a decommissioning agreement, is my understanding.
Right, so I do think that Huntingburg, from what I can tell, their thoughts are the same as mine, that it is in their jurisdiction and it would be their approval for construction or not construction. We would still have some road use agreement issues that we would deal with them.
I think it's under both of you. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how that goes, but I think there's, you know, they would still have to meet some county requirements too, so.
And I think we should review the permit to make sure that they're following what they were allowed to do and what they weren't. So I appreciate you bringing that up as well.
Yeah, I don't know, I think we might have some other people who want, okay.
Hi,
Hello.
my name's Dave Duncan. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Little background on myself, served 4 years in the Navy on nuclear submarine, as an electronic technician. I worked for 28 years for American Electric Power, company owned the power plant Rockport. And then I retired early from there in 2010, went to work for an engineering company in Evansville.
Where?
A professional consultant incorporated in Evansville, which is now South Carolina. And I retired from there a year ago in March as a project manager. I'm not an engineer. I don't want to claim to be an engineer, right? So I did a little research on, one preface this, when I was at the power company, I worked on substation equipment. I was a senior equipment specialist. I installed, tested, and repaired substation equipment, okay? Including substation batteries, which is a different battery than what's going in this storage field. But I do want to talk about some of the things. First of all, I want to say, the other night at the public event at the event center, I talked to Fluence guys, right? And I asked them, the first question I said was, what's your mitigation plan for when these cells blow up and catch on fire? And he started giving me a dog and pony show, basically. And I asked him again, what is the mitigation plan for when these things blow up and catch on fire? And he said, you said blow up twice now. I said, yes. He says, and I said, you're going to tell me they don't blow up? He said, yeah. And then he proceeded to show me the graph of one of the cubicles, which looked like a shipping container. On each section of that, there's a panel on top of it. And he gave it a fancy name, but basically it's a blowout panel. So when it does blow up, the pressure goes out the top of the container instead of laterally, okay? So I got a lot of questions about that, how that's designed. But what I wanted to really talk about is the gases that are produced by lithium-ion battery. There's two main ones that are really bad. First is hydrogen fluoride. And the permissible exposure level by OSHA for hydrogen fluoride is 3 parts per million over a time-weighted average of 8 hours. The immediately dangerous to life and health level for hydrogen fluoride is 30 parts per million. The lithium-ion battery fire can produce up to 600 parts per million of hydrogen fluoride. Okay. Hydrogen fluoride reacts with moisture really well. And so if it's raining and we get a cloud, hydrofluoride turns into hydrofluoric acid and falls to the ground, okay? There's a creek directly south or right in through the middle of this facility that eventually leads through the Barnes thing, wetlands, and into the Patoka River. The other chemical is hydrogen cyanide. And the PEL for hydrogen cyanide visible exposure limit is 10 parts per million. And the immediately dangerous for life and health is 50 parts per million. And a lithium ion battery fire can produce up to 380 parts per million of lithium cyanide. I'll explain what immediately dangerous to life and health means. That level can kill a person in a half hour to an hour. Okay. So one of my questions I have for you, Chad, is what kind of fire suppression system did they tell you they have?
Oh,
You're gonna have a phone call?
No, that was an alarm telling you your time was up.
So, because I've seen many videos of them trying to put these out with water, it doesn't work.
Thanks, sir.
Very well. So, and I'm gonna close with this. I did a little quick math.
So Dave, before you move on though, do you have any examples of where hydrochloric acid, hydrogen cyanide was ever spilled over a community or over?
I don't have
property?
examples, but I'm just telling you what could happen.
So it's never happened?
I'm not saying
you're aware of.
and I'm sure it has. Because when you spew gases in the atmosphere, they come down somewhere, correct? All right. So, did a little math, and regardless of what AES said, did a little simple math at 20 mile an hour wind. A cloud from that lithium storage field could reach Southridge High School at 20 mile an hour wind in 6 minutes. It could reach Huntingburg City Hall in 10.5 minutes at 20 mile an hour winds. It could reach Holloman Elementary School if the wind was going that direction in 6 minutes, 6.21. Jasper City Hall, 28 minutes. Highways 162 and 264 in Ferdinand is 23 minutes. So my point on that is 6 minutes to Southridge High School, 6 minutes to Huntingburg Elementary or Southridge Elementary. There's no way you can respond in time. No way. That's 6 minutes if you know it's on fire. Okay. So the process of advising the first responders and we get in on site, they'll never get their time. And the lockdown, I've heard that one of their responses or one of their mitigations is lockdown. There's no building that's airtight, right? Every building has the HVAC system that sucks in air. So if any of this contaminant gets in the air, locking them down is not gonna work. You're gonna have to evacuate. You can't evacuate in 6 minutes. So anyway, that's what I wanted to say. I want to make everybody aware of what we're talking about. This is not just money. This is people's lives, but potentially it's kids' lives. Because they will burn their lungs and maybe kill them. I don't know. And just a side note, I was listening off from this, which I'm 65. I don't care. I'm going to check out pretty soon anyway. Right? So I'm really worried about the kids.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn.
All right.
All right, let's wrap up, please.
Yeah, just
Last minute.
Just wondering if you guys are willing to take any action on either the permit or the moratorium today, and if not today, when can we expect to hear one way or the other?
Moratorium or the permit? The permit, again, I don't have any facts saying that they violated it. I will look at it myself. I don't know about the board. And the engineer will look at it. Again, I hope the public knows I'm not in favor or against these things necessarily. I don't have a, so sometimes what I don't want to happen is me, when you say something and I say a counter, that's not me trying to fight for this company. So that's that. But anyway, we will look at the permit. As far as the moratorium, it wouldn't bother me if we did that today. If you think we have any authority to do that on future projects, put a
I
year.
think it's something we should look at a little further, and I would not recommend doing it today. I'm not saying it's off the table, but to make sure that from a legal standpoint, that we're within our rights and duties.
So I think I would be favorable to that, to basically not put any new permits out. And one way that would help the public potentially is if this company or any other company wanted to expand their current footprint, that would, maybe have an effect on that. Commissioner Hofstadter, what are your thoughts?
I would agree and support a moratorium, if it's legal, obviously. And as far as the permit goes, I think we should look at it very closely, and if they are, not following the permit to a T, I wouldn't be opposed to pulling the permit.
Commissioner Stetson?
I think we definitely need to look at our current permits as far as the new ones. Take a much closer look at both. So, yeah. Sorry, I'm making my notes here.
Okay, so there we are.
All right, appreciate the
Thank you.
consideration.
And if anybody else wants to make a comment, we have public comment session at the end of the meeting.
You're waiting, wait, okay.
Yeah, at the end of the meeting, we always have a public comment section, so anybody that wants to talk at the
Okay,
end.
because I definitely have some things I need to speak on the risk analysis here, and that the public needs to know. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so at 9:15, we had something on the agenda for a complaint for the Kippenbrook property. That individual that wanted on the agenda has pulled themselves from that. One comment I'll make to this board is I've been by there. They've sent me more photos. To me, it looks just as bad as it always has, or worse. So I wouldn't be surprised if someone didn't turn in another complaint. And when we talk about checking previous ordinances and previous rules that we have, this is another one where, again, with these people, it looks like within some of the boundaries of things that are against the rules, they may be within the rules, but it's still, most people would say that it's an eyesore and it's bad to the neighborhood. So I think that's another thing where we could certainly update and improve our ordinance on that. Okay, it's 9:30. We have we have guests from the Mid-States Corridor here, the Lockmuller Group and NDOT. Jason DuPont and Kiana Wheeler are here. So they're welcome to come in whenever they're ready. Good morning. You're welcome to begin at any time. The floor is yours. First off, I want to tell the board, I guess, that I appreciate Jason and Kiana both being here. I asked for a couple weeks ago. You were out of town for another meeting, but they agreed to come to discuss the Mid-States Corridor project with us. And we'll let you begin. I think I sent you a couple of the questions that I was going to ask. And so I'll let you start. If we still have questions, we will just have a conversation.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the first question you had asked was just some of the feedback we got from the last public information meeting we had, which we were presenting the screening of alternatives. So we had showed 2 different alignments along with some variations in different access points. So we were just going to give you a high-level debrief of some of the things that we were hearing from people that attended and have called or given us comments since then. So again, this is high level. If you have any questions, ask them. There were some farmland and environmental impact concerns. Concerns with, if this road goes through, how will that impact downtown Jasper businesses? Some concerns about some locations that would no longer have access and how traffic would get around, or what were the delays if this road no longer has access. And along with that, just added travel times. So overall, we're reducing travel time, but there will be some instances or some trips that could see longer travel times. And especially with that, where the RCIs, there were concerns with that type of intersection and that could add travel times. And I think just the not being as familiar with that type of intersection.
We've also got a number of questions, generally just looking at individual properties. How would my property be affected directly? What would access look like? How would that be dealt with? So a lot of those comments with actually seeing potential right-of-way from property owners.
So I would say overall, we still have the opposition, but we had roughly 200 to 250 people in attendance. And I would say a lot of those people, I don't know the percentage, but more than half, were just there to understand the project better, right? I mean, there's a general acceptance, okay, NDOT is building this road now. We need to make sure we understand what's happening, come give specific feedback and concerns we have to NDOT, not just say we don't want the road anymore. That I feel like that was an overwhelming kind of shift, was people just really wanting to understand how this road is impacting their daily lives. So anything to add to that first question? Any questions from you on that first question that you would ask, Jack?
Specific locations, I guess, as far as access, I know County Road 400 North, got a lot of feedback or attention, kind of looking at it, being close to the development, north side, yes.
Yeah, 400 North was a concern. I think some of the folks that I talked to, a lot of concern in the Hayesville area of how that access will occur, because there's a lot going on up there. When you're cutting through to reconnect to the existing 231 for Martinsville, and how that would impact 56. There's a lot of moving parts up there.
Yeah.
And so, is it fair to say that the road, we had the last report was screening the final two alternatives, but really it seems like there's a lot of moving parts still within those two paths.
Yes, definitely. As those are refined, those alternatives are refined through this process to further detail those, there likely will be some adjustments. And as was noted specifically, there were a number of locations where we identified specifically that we anticipate looking at some variations in how that access will be provided. Typically at the same location, but potentially with some different configurations of what may be provided there. And also some where it would be potentially an alternative access where it would be a connection from the local road to the Mid-States Highway. So.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, we'll just continue through the other couple of questions that I had.
Yeah, so your next question was specifically about the travel time savings, and I'm gonna lean on Jason to really speak to that.
Just for the public, I'll read the question.
Yes.
Just so my question was, can you discuss the methodology used to determine the 300,000 hours of travel time savings annually within the 12 county study area for commuters? I think that's kind of the language that was used. More specifically, how much of the savings is to DuBois County residents? Again, we're here representing the people of DuBois County, so if it's a 12 county region, we're not as concerned, or I'm not as concerned of what time savings it is in some other county. I'm trying to find, and what I said at our last meeting here, I'm still trying to find what are the benefits for the people in DuBois County. Not because I think I mentioned the last meeting too, that I can see where it would be a benefit to the state, because if you're northern Indiana, you want to get somewhere in southern Indiana, you can drive right through our county. I can see that that's a benefit, but I don't know how much that benefits DuBois County people. So I'm again trying to figure out how much of this time savings would be for DuBois County people. And I asked if you could provide a couple hypothetical examples of who would benefit from these time savings. For example, if a person, and I don't know where I came up with this example, but one of them that I had was, if a person lives in Spencer County and they work at Kimball Electronics in Jasper, they will save how many minutes per day? I'm just, again, trying to figure out different ways of how this is potentially any benefit.
We did run a few of those. And overall, the way those estimates are quantified in our travel demand model, essentially it's the roadway network has been established within a model, and for that 12 county area, what we are estimating, there are nearly 1 million trips a day that are calculated within that model. So what we've done, take the future year of 2050 is what we're looking at. We run that model with those nearly 1 million trips without the Mid-States Corridor in it. Then we take a separate model run with the Mid-States Corridor in it, look at those 1 million trips, total travel times on all of those trips comparatively within that area. And that's what we're comparing to identify that travel time savings. So that's where those numbers are coming from, is the difference between those two model runs.
And you're giving us the net number.
Correct.
Because some people are gonna lose.
That's,
Some people are gonna
that's
say,
right. There will be,
it's gonna cost me 5 minutes a day. Somebody else may say it's gonna save me 5 minutes.
there will be trips on some of those low volume roads typically that are not gonna be accessed, that would be diverted. So yes, there will be some addition. This is a net savings. It's all of those trips, netted together. So essentially the total time. To go to your question about, how specifically of the approximately 600 hours a day of auto trip savings, which is what's estimated, I think we provided that before. About half of those, just over half, I think like 52%, are trips that are either totally within Du Bois County, beginning and ending in Du Bois County, or beginning in Du Bois County and going out of the county, or out of the county but coming into Du Bois County. So. And
So 300 hours a day.
Yeah.
It has at least some, you're saying in some portion at Du Bois County.
Yes, yeah. So that'd be someone, Du Bois County resident that's going to Vanderbilt County to work. In fact, someone who's in Spencer County coming to Du Bois County to work and back. So, and in essence, the truck trips that we've identified include multi-unit tractor trailer semi trucks. That's as far as when we report truck savings, it's based on those vehicle classes in the model. So all the vehicles are classed differently in the model with what's estimated. So those auto trips, there are some box trucks, other smaller unit trucks that would be incorporated into those savings as well. So, and that would represent some additional freight movement. So when we're quantifying the freight trips, and we're only looking at the tractor trailers, that's a conservative number in our mind in regard to what would be ultimately provided. Further on benefits on some specific trips, I don't know that we looked at Christie to Kimball. Well, we can certainly run that one. I know we looked at Hayesville to OFS, for instance, almost a 20-minute trip is what's projected, without a 4-minute time savings on that, about 20% one way. So 8 minutes total on a day, back and forth if you're someone that's working there and going to work. So from Du Bois to Far Best, it's a 25, 27-minute trip, saving 3.5 minutes on that. So I think it's around 13%, so about a 7-minute round trip time savings on that. So that's some specifics that we've looked at as far as how would those benefits be reflected within Du Bois County specifically.
And please, for the rest of the board, if you got questions, please feel free to ask. Nope, I think we're good. The next one was regarding the 10% match. Local units that I've talked to would like to have more information on that. 90 million to 135 million in local match from any source, to me, seems insurmountable. And if that, and the reason I bring that up is if that's a project killer, it would be best to know that now, right? If NDOT or says, well, you don't have that, then this is a no-go. The sooner the better on that would be. Would probably save everybody a lot of headache.
Yep. So we recognize that local participation can be a challenge. And we value the partnership that we have had with all of the local communities to date. And we appreciate the feedback that we've had from all of the local entities for advancing the project forward. So the local match is important for NDOT. It's important to ensuring that there is a shared investment in the project. And it is a required component of the project. However, a lack of a local match could affect our ability to move the project forward as currently planned, meaning maybe not as accelerated with all of the contracts we are planning, right? If it's 24 miles of new terrain, We can't do that in one contract. That will take multiple contracts, and we are planning to move those forward pretty quickly. But we do plan to move the project forward, at least contract one. And we are open to working with you and exploring various potential solutions to help with coming up with that amount. And that could include phased implementation, alternative funding sources, in-kind services, adjusted scopes, such as what I just referred to help make sure that the project is feasible within the available resources that we have and that you may have. Our goal is to maintain progress while ensuring that funding commitments are equitable and sustainable. So that is a lot of money. We don't have to have all of that money up front. I think just some type of agreement with however that comes, right? That can come through the RDA, that can come from Jasper, from Du Bois County, from Huntingburg, from private donations. That can come in the form of road relinquishment when we're talking about US 231. That can come in the form of in-kind services. The RDA has already given NDOT in excess of $7 million for Tier 1. That's a contribution that's already been made towards this project. So I think we're just open to making sure that it's not a burden to you and that there's a way to make sure that we're partnering for the project.
All that said, it still seems like that's a insurmountable. You may be more hopeful than I am.
Well, the road relinquishment that's worth a significant amount of money. And that can look a lot of different ways too, right? We're still having those conversations to see if that's even an available option. A typical road relinquishment for NDOT is us coming to an agreement with you to make sure that the road is in a certain condition, or we're paying you to make that road in a certain condition for X amount of years. Obviously, we cannot pay you indefinitely to take over that road, but we do look out at a 10-year. This is what we would do for the next 10 years on this road, and this is how much it would cost us, and that includes capital projects, maintenance, operations. We include all of those things and what that value is. And that's still a big deal for us. If we can find a way to come to an agreement on that so that we're not maintaining that for the indefinite future, right? And that can still look like us paying you something to take that road. That doesn't mean that you're taking it for free. That can all be part of these continued conversations.
Okay. Yeah, and then my last question was for any information you can share on future road funding, for example, if Du Bois County took over current 231, what type of road funding comes with that and when would that begin? For example, if Du Bois County gets a certain amount of fuel tax, et cetera, for each mile of road in our inventory based on the facility type and length, many are concerned we will not be able to afford the upkeep of the road. And I guess I just wanted to kind of understand in a general sense what that funding mechanism looks like.
So I think there are multiple funding mechanisms that can come with it. As far as like lane mile allocations and any tax that may be generated for that, I'm going to have to follow up with you on that. I wasn't able to get that information specifically, and I think some of that's dependent on how the road is classified. If you take it over, does it stay a primary arterial or whatever it is today, or is it some different type of classification? But there would be some type of funding that comes along with that. I just can't give you an exact amount of what that looks like today.
In summary, tell me if this is right. This is my thinking on it. There's an amount of road dollars that are generated in Du Bois County from people that use fuel, that have wheels, and there's different taxing.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain amount of taxes for the roads that get used here. And if you have a rock road, you get a certain amount of that percentage of those dollars. If it's a paved road, chip sealed road, different sizes and different classifications. So if more roads are added, the thought is that you'll have more revenue because there may be more people buying fuel, maybe more vehicles registered, those kind of things. But basically, whatever that amount of dollars are, that's going to be divided by the number of roads. Is that accurate?
the number of lane miles.
Well, right,
Yeah,
right,
yes.
yeah, not number of roads, it's matter lane miles.
That includes federal taxes that are coming back through and flowing through based on those apportionments of mileage by classification, essentially roadway classification. Is it a gravel road versus the 231 is currently a principal arterial primary road? It would likely still have a significant I designation on it. Even with Mid-States Corridor, Mid-States Corridor would be the principal arterial that would likely be incorporated. This would be a major collector. Potentially parts of it would be still very high classification as far as for how that funding calculation would go.
My concern is that there's a finite amount of money that will come in, even if it increases a certain percentage for more people driving here, maybe more people buying gas here, that the amount of net dollars that will come back to us will not be enough to maintain the road. Right, if we take over 10 more, our portion, say 10 miles of new road that is robust compared to some of the roads that we maintain.
Yeah, and I think that's what we can't answer specifically. I don't know the amount that's gonna be generated today. And I don't know what your costs are for maintaining that road. Your costs are much lower than NDOT's cost for maintaining that road. But I don't know what those are. So I think that's some of the things that we would have to understand to be able to answer that question.
And certainly then any future construction projects on it would be certainly federal aid eligible. So you know, you use federal dollars for 80% of that, 20% being a local match for a project of that type. So that's,
So when he says that, he's talking about the LPA program, where it's an 80-20 split. Obviously, you're still eligible for CCMG dollars. So those are two different funding sources that we aren't able to use, but you would be able to use if it were your road. And I think there are other potential funding sources, but I'm not an expert to speak on those. But I am working on this and I plan to follow up in more detail. I just didn't have it all for today. So I'll share that in an email when I have some more available funding
and certainly
information.
some of your utilities that are within the existing roadway would be eligible for other funding sources as well, besides roadway. Awesome.
Like there's, I think, the OPRA program.
Yeah, I mean, it's like federal funding, it's maybe eligible, but it's not guaranteed either. I know we try to do as much in-house as we can. There's been times where federal funding can still be more expensive than doing our own work in-house because we have different requirements that have to be met through federal funding. So historically speaking, the county has not done a whole lot of federal funded projects for that reason. That would have to be evaluated further to determine if it made sense to apply for federal funds. Yes, the cost to maintain county roads may be less, but also I don't know what that ratio looks like compared to how much income NDOT has versus how much their roads cost. The one thing, we had roads that were more equivalent to the type of road 231 was, where we had the equipment to maintain a similar type of road, but we're not set up for that road. That road is so unique compared to the types of road we have. So I know it would be pretty substantial for us to gear up for a road like that.
So that can all be part of the relinquishment agreement. Again, that agreement can look a lot of different ways, but NDOT has donated equipment to locals in the past as part of that agreement, so that you have the snow plows or whatever it is you need that you don't currently have to maintain that hire facility. So I think those conversations are important. It can be anything, right? It's a partnership to get you to hopefully accept taking this road over, and it can look a lot of different ways. We just need to know what that looks like for you. What do you need from us to be able to take this road over? Is it a dollar amount? Is it help for X amount of years, understanding how some of the signal equipment works, for example, and us teaching some of your employees how to operate the signals and do timing? Is it a snowplow? Like, that's what we just need to understand. What do you need to be able to maintain this road?
Again, I hear you saying that, and I don't disbelieve that has happened other places and that it might happen here, but that still seems counter to us putting in $100 million. That seems like more money coming your way to us, not us fulfilling any amount of money as a I don't know what the word for it is, but of our portion, the match, right? So if you give us a snow plow and you agree to work on the road for 3 or 4 years until we get the equipment necessary to do that, that again seems like more debt on our side that we would owe you towards that match.
That's not the way we're looking at it. We're still looking at this as a win for us, even if that means giving you some things, that can still count towards your portion of the match.
You're just saying that it means it is such a value to the state to get rid of that asset that would be a big portion potentially of the match.
It is a big value for the state to not have to make 2 parallel corridors. It is. So if we can allocate funds towards someone else maintaining that road, then yes, that's very beneficial for us. And I think for you, because you can maintain it the way that you want. Your local businesses now don't have to come to NDOT to get permits. You give them the permits and they don't have to spend, $15,000, $20,000 bringing up a drive to a standard that we would ask. You have control over what they need to do. All of your infrastructure under the road, you can maintain that now the way that you want to maintain it. If you have any infrastructure, I know the cities do. I don't know that DuBois County does. But I do think that there's benefit to the county in being able to own this and maintain it for yourselves as well, without having to follow our restrictions.
Right. Ms. Felicia, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, as far as, you said we could use some of their equipment, whatever, snowplow, whatever. I talked to NDOT, the local NDOT, a few times already. And they said as far as ditching wise, it may be 3, 4, 5 weeks before they get an actual ditcher in the area. So they have to get their equipment from somewhere else. How quick would it be for us to get that?
So I don't think it would be you borrowing that equipment from us. It would be us figuring out a way to donate that equipment to you. You would become the owner of it. I mean, again, there are multiple ways we could do this, but I think that would be the intent. That's what we've done in the past. That's part of coming to this agreement so that you're not having to borrow our equipment. Maybe it is you borrowing our equipment if you're okay with that. But maybe this is the equipment we need to be able to do it and we want to own that equipment. I don't know. That's what we need to understand. And I would also say that I don't know that our local units fully understand, what could be part of a relinquishment agreement. They may not understand that that's a potential. We haven't brought them into these conversations. So if you do have any requests like that, it would be great for myself, for Rusty with the district to understand those things.
Would the good operators go with it?
But we can probably do some training for sure. That can be part of it. Yes.
Mr. Ostetter?
Kind of on the same page as Donnie. I'm worried about taking over the 231. The manpower, our facility is not big enough. Not only the manpower, but we have to think about the wages for the extra people, the insurance. All of that we have to take into consideration. We don't have the equipment. Our facility by far is not big enough. We've outgrown it. Those are the kind of things that I think about. As far as I'm a little confused that we're taking over 231. Do we solely own as a county 231, or are there certain standards that we're gonna have to follow for the state or NDOT?
If you own it, then you fully own it and you maintain it like you would any other county road. So it's your decision how you do that. If we own it, then that's different, right? We have to.
Well, I didn't know
Yeah.
if we solely owned it.
You would solely
or-
own it. Yep, that would be the intent.
And the last feedback from the previous meeting was that we wouldn't, yes, it's negotiable, but we wouldn't take ownership until the road was complete.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, negotiable. If you're willing to take it before then, fantastic. But
Until it's complete.
when Mid-States is complete, the full section 2 in DuBois County, then you would take over the ownership and maintenance and everything with existing 231. Right now, we have a preliminary construction schedule pushed, that has Mid-States being complete in 2032 to 2033. So we would not expect any type of ownership until that time. But for our planning purposes, it's good to go ahead and have these discussions, understand what you need to take it over at that time. And just have an agreement that says upon completion of the Mid-States corridor, whether that's 2032 or if there's a delay, and it's 2034 now, whatever that looks like, that the three entities would take over the sections within their jurisdiction.
You know, one thing that's important for us to take into consideration too is the improvements that may be needed on county roads to be able to handle the change in traffic patterns. So what that financial obligation may look like, short-term and long-term, 400 north could be one, maybe 900 south, just, you know, NDOT improves up to the right of way, and then how's that tie in? How far do we got to tie in?
So we will be doing some improvements on county roads, and we'll be coordinating that with you as we further develop the alignment and what that looks like. We just don't know what that looks like yet, Levi. So as we get through that, it won't necessarily just be to the right-of-way line. We will be improving your local roads as part of the project, and that cost is part of our project. It's not on you.
Even outside of the NDOT right of way?
Outside of NDOT right.
Is that
Well,
something that could be included in the contract with your guys' contractor then?
Well,
Or that's all up in the area?
In essence, what's shown in the preliminary plan, right-of-ways does include those local connection improvements. All of that's shown there would be a part of the contracts, the state's contracts. So that would be the expectation. There would be coordination regarding the right-of-way that's acquired for that, where it's, you know, it's added right-of-way or new right-of-way that's required for that. Ultimately, then that local facility would go, you know, back to the county once it's done, but the construction and all the development until the contract is closed out would be done by you.
we would be doing the upgrades to your road. It would still be your road when we're done, but we would incorporate all of that cost into the project.
But to be clear on 400 north, where it crosses north-south, you have so many hundreds of feet that you deal with.
Understood, yes.
And you're not going to the existing 231.
Not what we show currently. Now, one thing that we will is we refine those and look at those volumes. Are those volumes appreciably changing, and what does that show? And is there going to be more improvement needed? So that's part of what we are looking at.
I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear that there's a portion for sure that you're going to do. Anything outside of that would still be us.
Right now, right? I mean,
As it stands.
As it stands. We're not far enough along to understand what that looks like. That's where those conversations continue to happen, I hope, so that you can help us understand what traffic volumes you may see or concerns you may have, to see if we can incorporate anything further.
Anything else from the board or highway? This is your opportunity. They're right here.
As far as 56 comes from the west, it ends at the Y, but it goes into 231 on Hazel. Where is that traffic gonna go?
Well,
I mean, it's still gonna stay, it's gonna be basically on the county. I mean, since you're getting rid of 231.
Well, yeah, 56 would tie into existing 231 the way it currently does. There would be an access point just north of Hayesville, and there would be an access point just south of Hayesville. So they could still access the Mid-States corridor for any of the traffic not utilizing existing 231. And they would only utilize US 231 for half a mile before they can get to an access point. But any of the traffic that is going to stay on existing 231, yes, if you take it over, that would be a local route.
I mean, but that's on the east side of Jasper. I mean, how would it, you're gonna get rid of 231?
I don't know if I understand.
Would 56 remain a?
56
It's not
remains.
231 anymore. They share the same route now, correct?
Yes.
Now it would just be 56, not a shared route.
Correct.
Okay.
So where the gas station, there's the Y.
Well,
You
sorry.
take from the gas station towards French
No,
Lake.
I'm sorry. We would reroute 56, and the Mid-States corridor would now be rerouted and signed to push that traffic to the Mid-States corridor and we would reroute it as US 231/56 to try to get the traffic to take the state facility And then we would take down all of the 56 231 signs on existing US 231 if you were to take it over.
So where would the state's ownership of existing 56, beginning in Hazel at the Y, where would your ownership stop there?
Right there at the Y.
You would still own the same amount that you own now, just up to the existing 231?
Correct, up to the existing 231, yes.
So you have east and west,
Mm-hmm.
and then when it gets to there,
Yes,
that's
north-south would be, yep.
Does that make sense, or does that kind of answer your question? Not really.
Where does it go from the Y? Where's 56 gonna go?
Well, we have other state facilities that, well, I think we're still working that out, but we do have other state facilities that tie into local roads. But the intent would be, you tie in 56, it stops there, you don't own it beyond the Y, but we would also route it at that nearest intersection, which is, what's the nearest intersection on the north of 56?
I think Donnie is Chad said, the state will still maintain east and west, not the.
I think he's trying to understand
The-
how we route 56 though, where it ties in to the
Yeah.
mid-states corridor.
The
And I think-
sign,
If you're saying it would just dead end at Y.
No,
and then-
that's, we would,
Not a physical dead end, I mean, it's a dead end of
Yeah.
their.
where are the signs,
Right,
where are the
yes.
signs in?
yes, yes.
And then it would start back up on 600 or whatever.
If that's the next.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's part of what we're still developing is how to sign 56 so that it connects to the mid-states corridor.
So there'll still be a lot of traffic on the existing 231 now from 56.
So a concern, what it sounds like maybe that there's a gap there, that the county road is the Band-Aid between two state facilities.
Yeah, but our intent, again, as we further develop it, would be to sign it so that 56 traffic gets routed to the mid-states corridor and doesn't continue to travel on 231 if it were taken over by the county. How those signs look and where it gets routed, I don't know the answer to that yet.
I think that is important if you're coming from French Lick, you're taking 56 into Du Bois County, how do you get on the corridor?
600.
And you're saying, so they would go from 56 onto county road, whatever it is, to get on 600, which is state facility again, to get on the.
So I think the intent would be to have signs at the north end where it ties into existing 231 and on the south end of the 56 intersection at 600 to route people to those two intersections to get on and off the mid-states corridor to get onto 56. And we would sign it like that as well.
Some of that may very well, like I said, come into addition to those access variations, exactly what could be provided at each of those locations. Certainly at Hayesville is one area we're looking at, as well as County Road 600/231 area there just south of Hayesville, or out the immediate adjustment. So
I appreciate your time. I thank you both for being here to answer these questions. You've been good about your communications with us, and I want to thank you for that. Any final words from the county?
No, thank you.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, two more miscellaneous items. Comprehensive plan update. I mentioned previously, we have over 1,100 survey responses. I finally worked my way through reading, I think 119 pages of typed out responses that people have. I forwarded those on to you, so I'm sure you're excited about looking at those. But what I'm going to try to do is give you, the board, a summary of what the top topics that people were talking about for our comprehensive survey. So I'll give it to you in summary form.
Good.
Because there's quite a bit of information there. And I will probably get that to you as soon as I can get that done. And, I'll tell you a couple things really stood out that were interesting. There were a few people that were supporting the corridor. There were a lot of people that were against the corridor. So that was, of course, that stood out a bunch. One of the things that I don't know how we will handle yet, but something that I thought was interesting was, improving, people said things that were more intangible, like improving our kindness, our diversity, our acceptance, just being better humans. I thought that was really interesting that dozens of people under the part that said, what can we do better in the future as Du Bois County? And a lot of people thought that was one of the top things that was important to them. I don't know how county government does that necessarily about making, but one thing that it did do to me, for me, was to make sure that we have a better representation of the community in the planning as we go forward, because I don't think we have very good, participation right now. So I want, for example, the Hispanic community, according to, took part in Jasper's comprehensive planning as well. I think the latest number showed 10 or 11% of the community is Hispanic. And previously, the last census, it was 9% less than that or something. I mean, so it's growing, and those are fellow residents. We need to make sure that they're represented. So anyway, there's just some really neat findings, and I'm really grateful for the community for taking the time to take the survey and giving us their information. So Commissioner Hofstadter, I don't know if you've had time to do this. You weren't at the last meeting, but we did have 2 requests for people that wanted to look at using some of our opioid dollars. One was from Operation Mind, Body, and Soul. They had 2 requests. They wanted, number 1, mental health and opioid recovery support. They have a bunch of information on that. And they wanted $50,000 to do for a gym to remodel a space for that, so that veterans, law enforcement, first responders could use that. And the second thing was Safe Haven. They need continued funding to use the Du Bois County to support the Du Bois County Transport Program, and they provide services for free to people that gives them rides. This would be people that have either been involved with the criminal justice system or have had that in the past, or they're currently in the middle of the criminal justice system, and they've given their cost is approximately $74,000 a year to do that. They've given 1,300 rides over the last year. So those are 2 things that Commissioner Steph and I want to discuss at the last meeting. We were going to bring them up for this meeting. And also I think the auditor was going to, did you have a chance to look at the dollars available? So anyway, have you had a chance to look at those or not yet?
Really have not.
Okay, so maybe for the next meeting again, we'll look at those. If you can, and give us your opinion, if you think these are things that we should be supporting. So here's the funding that we have so far.
Currently, as of 11/3, when I looked, the unrestricted has $444,747 in it, and the restricted has $303,451.50 in it.
Unrestricted was 400?
Unrestricted, we have $444,747.900. Restricted had less, because we've been using some of the restricted.
Okay, I was gonna say, because the
Now, we do
unrestricted,
have budgeted amounts for those for next year. So, and there's still some in the restricted fund for this year remaining to be spent.
so current budget, or current amount in funds, what the county has in hand is about over $700,000. Next year, we have appropriated for we have budgeted 350,000.
We budgeted 200 in the restricted fund and 100 in the unrestricted fund.
Okay, so 300,000 budgeted. So we still have a considerable amount of money there for future projects. So 300 was budgeted, and we've already agreed to give $100,000 to the project that we talked about earlier with Du Bois County Cares and the in-school work.
Rise Community, you've also
And-
dedicated 107.
Right. So between the 2 of those, we should still have 90,000 approximate dollars for next year's dollars to spend. That's been budgeted, ready to spend in January. Does that sound accurate? Okay. So So two things. One, for example, if we looked at both of these, we said that the Safe Haven ride transport program was good. We probably have money to support that next year. Or if we look through some of the things that Mind, Body, and Soul are wanting to do, their funding request was $100,000 for year one, or no, $100,000 total, $60,000 for year one, $40,000 for year two. So we will have the funds available to help one of them, or maybe partially fund both of them if we wanted. But let's please just make sure you're up to date on that for the next meeting, and we can make decisions on it.
Okay.
We can decide to act or not act. Mr. Schneider, do you have any business for the county today? County auditor?
I do have the engagement proposal for the wireless access replacements. I didn't know if we wanted to see it or wait till next year on that. They did the survey.
Yes. And what was did you say there was a benefit to doing it now?
Well, they are going to go out of live next year. So it depends on when we want to do it now or do it next year.
Do you have the funding in place to do it immediately?
I don't at the moment.
This work, in my opinion, needs to be done. It'll have to either be done now or sometime in the next 10 months or so. I don't care when we do it necessarily. Take her advice, whatever the auditor thinks is going to be fine with me. She's been more intimately involved, unless you two have an issue with that.
Sandy knows better than.
What would be your suggestion?
Well, if I'm gonna do it this year, I'm gonna do it, I'm having request an additional appropriation. If I wait till next year, then I'll do it then.
So you'll need an additional next year.
I don't have it budgeted.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the professional service engagement with Matrix for this work to be done immediately, pending approval of funding for the county council. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries. So that way you can do it at your speed. It's approved. Anything else? Okay, so I did sign on a portion of that. Commissioner Hofstadter, anything else for today?
I don't have anything additional today.
Commissioner Stefano?
I do not.
Okay, we'll open this for the public comment period. Anybody that wants to say anything, you'll have about 3 minutes apiece. If you want more time than that, then we can get you on a future agenda.
Thank you guys again for listening to us today on the subject of the battery storage facilities and solar panel project between Holland and Huntingburg. Just a couple of things I wanted to bring to attention based on meetings we've had and also from the public meeting in speaking with the Fluence AES representatives. The Huntingburg Board of Zoning Appeals on August 9th, 2023 did find and declare that this project will be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. And that's quoting from their records. So again, this project will be dangerous. It will be detrimental or endanger the public health, safety, or morals. I also wanted to.
You said that was the Board of Public Works for
Huntingburg Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay.
I did want to also follow up to your question of, has Fluence had any problems with this infrastructure, with these systems? He did say a similar comment to me as he did to you, Chad, that these batteries haven't had any issues. But then he did go to say, have you looked at this? Have you done your research on this? And I said, yes. What about the one in 2023 in Arizona? He goes, yeah, that one, we don't have that technology anymore. That was a fire. It closed down a freeway. It caused an evacuation. He goes, I thought you were going to bring up Escondido. So that was September 2024 during a maintenance operation. The guys were there. It still caused thermal runaway. It evacuated people. It caused health issues. I think the news reporter, if you watch the interview, she's choking up because she can't breathe. Fluence was the manufacturer for the largest battery fire that this world has seen in January 2025. So this year, Moss Landing, those Fluence batteries. Petersburg, so he made this note too. Escondido, Moss Landing, and Petersburg, all different battery systems. So yes, they are trying to make them safer, and I don't want to discount their efforts to do that, but they keep having incidents and told us that this this system will be different than what was in Petersburg. So they're changing it, right? They're seeing issues and they're changing it. I don't want our community to be the guinea pigs for this new system that they're trying out. Again, they keep having incidents, and yes, they might not have with this specific one, but again, I don't want us to be the guinea pigs for this. I do want to, again, thank you for your time and give you guys some literature on San Luis Obispo County. They've got some good information on the safety risk from the BESS system. So I'll hand that out to you and get out of your hair. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And what is this exactly? This is,
Yeah, they're hazard planning
okay,
with respect to BESS. So thank you all.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, whoever else wanted to talk to you, did you want to make a comment?
My name is Norma Kryline. I grew up in Ferdinand, went to University of Notre Dame, spent a year abroad, IU Medical School, LA County, and then I was here for 25 years and fought the biomass plant where we saw arguments that atrazine was going to go away, and yet at the same time Jasper was suing that it was toxic. So I've been doing this for a while, and I wanted to basically talk directly about risk analysis from a health standpoint and how wholly inadequate Indiana does that. You know, one thing I can tell you is I've probably humped off both sides of the political spectrum, but I'm a rural physician and a pediatrician, and I've looked for 35 years at what's happened to our kids and what's wrong with environmental and public health analysis in Indiana specifically compared to other places with different assumptions. So first thing is looking at something like infant mortality, where Indiana's been in the bottom 10 of the country forever. They throw money at it, they throw ideas, but they don't look at the contribution of pollution. And when you literally lead the country in pollution exposure per capita, it is a mathematical certainty that there is a consequence to that. So what you all need to be aware of in Indiana is that there is no connection to pollution and public health. Therein lies the problem that I've spent the last 15 years trying to get out, okay? Regarding AES as being reliable, I would beg to differ. They've had one of the most polluting plants. When I moved to Washington, we had the highest infant mortality in the state, higher than Gary, directly up from that coal plant. They never admitted it. They limited monitoring to 2 monitors that they owned to measure sulfur and swore that the air was clean. You know, so that's the other journey I've had over the last 15 years, is seeing how these guys are over time. If someone could please hold this and show. The pictures in here are of what AES in Petersburg considers to be clean air. Now, what y'all need to know is that statements about public health in the event of catastrophes are somewhat misleading, is a kind word, because they affect somebody. And being a rural physician, or being in an ER, or having to transfer somebody or intubate somebody, or with Indiana dealing, oh my God, with the gestational hypertension and the birth outcomes, I got my butt out of bed at 2 a.m. on more than one occasion for APGARs of 0, and I got quite tired of it, especially getting in the trenches and seeing the fundamental flaws. If you want to turn around and show the crowd too. So permitting, so that's AES. I don't find them to be credible, and I would strongly caution the conflict of interest that they would have on this and believing anything they say with their track record of supporting coal-fired energy, because matter can neither be created nor destroyed. ask them until you get an answer what we're gonna do with all the coal ash ponds. Now, your answer will probably be solar, okay? Am I against solar? No, I'm against flawed assumptions and flawed science. That's, and I'm here to talk about the things because I think we need to move to solar. So the biggest things I think I see here is the battery issue and the lithium. And is that safe in Holland? When these fine people ask me, is it safe? I go, there's nobody in Indiana and there's no doctor that's gonna tell you that. I can tell you, no, I would not let AES or Indiana define this right now because a permit is a permit. It allows them to do whatever they have in the permit, which is fundamentally flawed. I can promise you, because we dealt with that in coal to diesel. Oh, it's safe, it's safe, it's safe, until they admitted in court that they were arguing for a 13 times increased cancer risk that they knew about. And it took us 6 years and the only reason I think that they dropped the permit because they were still jamming it was because they were afraid that a lot of this stuff was going to come out. Folks, when you have all this pollution and you have health outcomes and you refuse to connect the two, my magic wand broke a long time ago, but my broom still flies just fine. And when you can publish something in the International Congress of Peds, it means somebody's looked at it, whether it's out or public or not, it sticks to the wall. So the other thing in terms of permitting, which is kind of the zoning thing.
Your time has expired.
I know.
So if you could, if you want
That's
to
the
email us
problem.
that or get on the next agenda, we'll give you 15 minutes or a half hour if you want to.
I'd be happy to, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a comment? Yes, sir, please come up.
So I talked last time, my name's John Kaufberger, Town of Holland, County, or not county, I don't want that, John.
Town of Holland.
Town of Holland, there you go. And as a board member, safety of my community is number one. Number one. Whether, we as my president right there and I know that I'm pretty passionate about certain things, and safety is one of them. So Thursday I went to that meet and greet, and listened to, I call them salespeople. They're trying to pitch something for us. Okay, that's what they're doing, pitching. And as I walked out, I started thinking about a few things. I was like, man, it sounded good. It's kind of like Jim Jones gave me some Kool-Aid. I had to spit it out. So as I'm driving home, I'm listening to my amateur radio, and I monitored the AM frequencies for aircraft. I heard a guy call out, gonna land, and it clicked. Huntingburg Airport. Runway 927. We have to go in on procedure flights and depart. Now that's for instrument flying and things like that, for the general aviation, and I'm a pilot, general aviation. We go out there and we call it a $100 egg. We fly out on the weekends and enjoy a nice flight and things like that. So I decided Saturday, with that really windy condition, I talked to another pilot friend of mine, we went out and flew. And we departed 27, which 27 will take us directly out over the top of that, close to the proximity of that solar field. So I started thinking about, okay, glide ratios. 9-to-1 is the aircraft we're flying. It's a 9-to-1 ratio. What that means is for every 9 feet you go forward, if you lose power, you drop a foot. Okay? So started doing that math in my head, which I'm not great at math. But I started thinking about that. And at 1,500 feet AGL with a headwind, because normally you have a headwind when you're flying out, you don't want to take off with a tailwind. That's going to put at 1,500 feet AGL, and we lose an engine or we have some type of mechanical failure, and you try to go to best glide and you try to glide that plane into the earth safely, guess where that solar field's at?
right there at about 2 miles. And you're looking at anywhere from no wind, you get 2.5 to headwind, you can get about 1.5 miles to 2 miles. By the time that you mitigate your problem, fly the aircraft, you're in that danger zone. So now we just put a aircraft, which is possible to have heavy fuel, not able to really do what he needs to do because we don't know what the malfunction could be. With a south wind, that would have pushed me straight into that solar area. What I would try to do something about to mitigate the safety, yeah, that's the job of a pilot. But at nighttime, you don't see that. You don't know where it's at. You're trying to fly the airplane. And with the wet transformers and that battery pack sitting out there, that's a problem. The solar field is not too bad. It's like flying a plane into the forest because you've got all the pylons and things like that. But those transformers that have all that oil in it and that battery pack, if we had an impact there from one of the jets or even a heavy jet, which means heavy fuel, or a GA aircraft is still heavy, but he's still going to have about 50 gallons of fuel on board. That's a problem. Just look at Louisville, what they had with that full plane that went to try to come up. They lost an engine, and what happened? Totally different situation, totally different aircraft, but that could possibility. I also looked at this deep dives into if the FAA, which they are required to be notified of this kind of thing, the FAA has a solar field battery policy. And so I reached out to Travis, the airport manager, and asked him, I said, have you seen anything like that? He goes, I know that BP did something, but he never saw it. So after doing my deep dive looking for it, I could not find anything. So was that out there? Did they actually do it? As transparent as this company's been, I honestly can't say. I'm not blaming them or not anything like that. I'm not pointing fingers, but we need to look at that as well. That's another safety aspect that that battery field is introducing to us. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have a couple things. I'll be really quick. On the AES, I have a real problem with saying they're going to help train our fire department. Talked to a lot of our volunteer fire department people. I wouldn't send them in there to fight that kind of fire. Let it burn out. Let it burn out. Toxic gases. I just think there's not been enough information on the permit. I think they haven't told us enough about how they're going to train us. We don't have the equipment. I mean, we have SCBAs like most of them do, but we don't have the equipment for toxic gases for an extended amount of time. So even if they're going to train us, I'm not sure our people really want to go in there and then bring that back home, even though we have washing machines for it. That's a real problem. As far as the mid-state corridor, there is not nearly enough information on how much it's going to cost. Our portion of it is insurmountable, as far as I'm concerned, even in kind. As far as taking care of the county roads, 10 years. Well, you all know how long 10 years is. That's great. What about 10 years later, 11 years later, 13 years later? Then where do we get the help? We still don't know anything about how much money's coming in from the feds, or our tax is never set, never set. Just our park alone got a $20,000 cut this year. That's just how it is. It's not set in stone. So then when you're looking at what we have to pay out as a county, it's really important to think that it's almost insurmountable for us to take over 231. When they say you'll have your infrastructure underneath, that's a lot too. So between the two things, I don't think we have enough information for either one.
Maybe you can come on up.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm a relatively new member of the community of Jasper. We met, I think, at
the middle school.
The session that was called a meeting, but wasn't, because it was just a display. It was a show and tell. So that was sketchy in my mind as a newcomer. The reason I bring that up is because I knew nothing about any of this, like many of you have lived it for years.
Can you say your name, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, my name's Jackie Cushman. I live out at the intersection of Kellerville with 600 North. So it became personal really quickly for me. And of course near Hayesville and how we get up to French Lick. And, but as a newcomer, it was so overwhelming that it took me a while to wrap my brain around why this is even being considered. And I think as many of us are aware, it comes back to greed and money and power. And I heard a chuckle, yeah. So I wanted to just tell you guys that as I've listened or heard perspectives about or read from truckers and first responders and school bus drivers and landowners and people who are going to be affected by all of this construction, the project work alone will impact so many people and so many entities. Nobody has been able to tell me how the cost and the other effects of this are justifiable. I have not heard an explanation that makes sense to me. This issue about the wear and tear on current county roads, that's a new one for me today. Over the years, that's going to be, I think, a factor. And then also as a taxpayer, and I may not have the words for this because I'm a performing arts person, not a mathematician or an economist, but here's me as a citizen and taxpayer, and NDOT is talking like they're a separate entity and they have all this money. And then they're going to help us out down here in ways that are going to totally make sense, which today didn't make sense to me at all. And it's Wayne, well, where's all that coming from? Well, oh yeah, that would be me and us. And so to talk about it as though it was a separate entity and it's all going to be fine, I just can't handle that at all. It still falls on us. NDOT giving back to us. Well, NDOT is us. So she said, one of them said something about a big burden to the state to maintain 2 parallel roads. Bingo, we don't need to worry about it anymore. No, Miss States Corridor, we're just gonna fix up 231 and everybody's gonna be happy because it's gonna work. 231 is viable. As a new resident, I've driven it a couple of times, and when people start talking about let's just repair, culverts and ditches and shoulders and passing lanes. I drive over to Patoka Lake on the Celestine Highway, and they have passing lanes. Or there's Shoals is another community, I think, that is so beautiful to drive up there, but it's viable because they have passing lanes. And it's obvious the state has made improvements to those roads to make that possible. So all I want to say is, as an outside observer now, one that's being directly affected by it, I don't understand. So I'm just going to encourage you guys to speak for us and help us and protect us. And thank you for your time.
Thank you. My name is William Finman, lifetime member of Du Bois County. I need to make my comments short and quick because I do need to get back to work in order to contribute my tax dollars to this board. My family owns property in the Duff area affected directly by the EDP solar field. There are many things that were promised on these permits that they're coming back to you. We need an easement on this. We need this to change just a little bit. And they can continue to come back. This Crossline solar project, I am fully aware every property owner has the right to do whatever they want on their property. However, there are rules and regulations that contribute to the safety of every Du Bois County citizen. Was the battery field totally clearly stated in the permits originally where they were located at? I don't believe so. They've talked about solar panels, green power. Okay, I get it. But they just keep changing direction on it. That's my statement in regards to the solar projects. Additionally, Mr. Donnie presented a good conversation in regards to the Lockmuir's handling of the Mid-States Corridor. 56 is an east-west corridor. It also travels north-south for a short period of time. If you do not consider 56 a highway completely through Du Bois County, and the commissioners are declared responsible for all of 231 from county line to county line, is 56 a dead-end highway, or does 56 continue and NDOT is still responsible for 56 from the western county line to the northeast county line? Just an idea. Lockmuller continues to say that 10% match is required. But then they turn around and say that it can be private. Why is private funding buying ground for a private highway? They're buying it to give to the county? It seems like there's a different perspective here. 2032 completion. They've already set a completion date, like they're going to shove it down our throats. I've been one of those members that just sits quietly at these meetings because I just want to understand. And as I'm hearing these things, they don't add up. There continues to be more questions that they change direction on. I'm just presenting that to the commissioners today. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Hi, I'm Vicki Browntree. I've written emails to all of you and all the other city council members, county council members. And my last one, I made a request that I feel like it is time for our elected officials to state publicly their position on this road. And if your answer is yes, I'm for this road, I'd like to understand your stance on that, because I'm having difficulty understanding a yes. When we are told we need to come up with 10%, we've got a long-term maintain 231, we're going to wipe out generational farms. We're not giving all the industries of our county equal weight, because our agricultural community and our small businesses should be equal weight. So I guess today I'm asking to poll the commissioners, if you'd be willing to state whether or not you are for this road or against this road. And if you are for it, please help me understand your position.
So I would say that I think I've been pretty vocal about what my position has been the last couple of weeks, that I don't, for one, I don't get to control if the road comes or not, but I do get to control a little bit of what the county would do as it relates to that. And I mentioned last time, but I don't think the county should be putting any funding towards the road, and that I'm struggling, as you are, to see that the value is matching or greater than the cost. And not just financial cost, Vicki, but the personal costs that you talk about. There's more things to cost than just than dollars. And
I appreciate that.
And what I would say, and I've said this the whole time, when people say there's zero value to this road, I don't think that that's a fair thing to say either. I think there is value to this road, but I don't think the value to the Du Bois County residents that I represent is greater than what the costs are. So that's my stand. Commissioner, anybody else have anything they want to say?
My concern is the cost. It really is.
So if they haven't cleared that gray area up for you, then is it time to put a halt to this? Because the longer this goes, the more momentum it is for the other side, because they keep claiming that this is going to pay off. There's the majority of the people want this, but this room is full of people that are saying that that's not the case.
They manipulate the data.
So I would say this isn't supposed to be a debate area. So you ask a question,
Yeah, I get it,
And,
I'm sorry, but,
That's
I.
my polite way of saying, shush.
Okay.
You've made your comment.
There's my comment.
Thank you, ma'am. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the email. Please continue, Commissioner.
That's okay. I mean, the cost is just the big thing for me, just like everyone else.
I do have my concerns about the road. Don't get me wrong, but I also have concerns about not getting it done. My main concern is that we have some large corporate entities in our locale, and they need to get goods and services or goods and products to the market. And we are one of very few industrialized counties that doesn't have a 4-lane, north-south route. So I don't know a great way to get it done. I think there's still a lot of questions that have to be answered. But I do see the value in getting this road done.
Thank you for your.
Okay. Anybody else? I don't want to just slam the gavel when somebody said they didn't have an opportunity. But I will. Thank you, everybody. We'll close the meeting.
Okay.
There we think.
So